Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. It's great to be in Ellerby, great to be in Richmond County. So many friends that I see out there that I've known for so long. Thank you for your friendship, Sheriff Clemens. Thank you for my pass to get into county today. I appreciate that. Seeing my good friend G.R. Kenley and former Senator and Mayor Gene McLaurin, grateful for you guys. Thank you, Representative Pierce, Senator McGinnis, for your service. I'm grateful to be here in the presence of the Frye family. Bishop Simpson, thank you for the good work that you do over there. But I was looking at the Chief Justice when you started talking about him in heaven, and his eyes were getting a little bit big. I don't think he's quite ready for that yet. But it sure did sound good, and I think you're going to be exactly right about that. And of course, we all know Miss Shirley Frye, the power behind the throne right there. She told me not to build him up too much because it would take her a long time to knock him back down where he belonged. So I'll do the best I can on that. That's kind of hard when we talk about Chief Justice Frye. I'm grateful to be a North Carolinian through and through and have grown up in Eastern North Carolina. I'm grateful for that opportunity. Grateful and honored and humbled to serve as governor and to not only appointed the most diverse cabinet in the history of our state, is also the most talented. Secretary Trogdon and Chairman Mike Fox and Nina Schlossberg-Landis and other members of the Board of Transportation, I'm grateful to them. For an example, last week we had really an unprecedented snow, all the way from the mountains to the Outer Banks in large amounts. And so the Department of Transportation was hard at work in trying to clear our roads, and our law enforcement officers working hard to keep people safe out there. I'll tell you this brief story. I was with Dale Earnhardt Jr. for lunch down in Mooresville, as you know, the great NASCAR driver and North Carolinian. And as you may know, he tried to pull someone out of the ditch during the snow and told the story of having left. He got a little bit too confident in his Jeep, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Slid off the road and, as he said, dented a pine tree pretty good. And he went ahead and admitted that publicly. So I thanked him today because I said over and over again for people to get off the roads. And when Dale Earnhardt Jr. had a wreck, one of the greatest drivers in the world, I was able to say, see? So I thanked him. I thanked him for that, and I thank the hard-working crews of the Department of Transportation for their good work. They work all hours of the night, go out in the cold, along with our first responders and law enforcement officers. And we're here today with first responders and firemen and women, and we're grateful for them. You know, we got some leaders who want to try to divide us, but we got some leaders who want to bring us together. And the bridge analogy is quite appropriate because today we honor a bridge builder. And Bishop, thank you for saying that it wasn't all easy, because it wasn't. Because I think about this bridge we're going to be naming as a bridge over troubled waters. Look at the life of this man growing up. Had to work hard on the farm. Now, I did too, and Chief Justice Frye and I have talked about that, being out in the tobacco patch, learning hard work, learning dedication, learning that you really wanted a job with air conditioning when you grew up. And I know that he's glad that he got one, but he worked hard in school, and he went to North Carolina A&T University. And by the way, I just had that undefeated championship football team at the mansion, Mr. Chief Justice. And the thing I think they loved the most is my chief of staff, Christy Jones, who is a North Carolina Central Eagle, had to stand up there with me and go, Aggie Pride! That was a fun thing to happen. But this man graduated with honors from North Carolina A&T State University. He was in the Air Force ROTC, decided it was time to serve his country. He went off to the Air Force for 4 years, was an Air Force captain. When he came back home, and he may tell you this story, but I've heard him tell it a number of times, and it is as powerful a story as you can imagine. He comes home, a veteran, an Air Force captain, an honor student, and tries to register to vote. But he couldn't pass the test, the literacy test. And we know why he couldn't register to vote, because of the color of his skin. And he walked out of there that day determined. He went to law school. Supreme Court Justice Morgan, you know how important the law can be in changing things. He went to law school at UNC and then began a string of firsts. The first African-American assistant U.S. attorney. He ran for the legislature in 1968, the first African-American representative in the legislature in the 20th century. Was on the Supreme Court, the first justice of the Supreme Court, African-American, and then the first African-American Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Now, we can talk about those firsts, but we can also talk about the fact that he excelled at all of those jobs. No matter what he looked like, he was good at what he did. And he blazed a trail. He set an example for leaders like me. He made me know that we ought to have a state government that looks like the people that it represents, serves, and protects. He knows what it takes to move forward. We talk about quotes from him. I want to read you one of his quotes. Chief Justice Frye said in one speech one day, everybody can't be a Martin Luther King. Everybody can't be a great speaker. Everybody can't lead a great movement. But everybody can do something. He set an example of things that we can do to move our state forward. He agrees with me on my CEO mission statement for North Carolina. I want a North Carolina where people are better educated, where they're healthier, where they have more money in their pockets, and they have the opportunities to live a more abundant and purposeful life. That's what I want. And I believe that Chief Justice Frye, with his life, has moved us toward those goals. He is a bridge builder. When you drive across that bridge, you can remember not only him and his supportive family and his mom and his daddy, but also remember what he represents. We're all in this thing together, folks. Diversity is our strength. It can move us forward. Education is the key to opportunity and getting everyone ahead. I'm proud to be here today to dedicate this bridge to this man. And I would like to introduce to you the honoree, the person I've built up pretty high, and he deserves every word, Miss Shirley, just so you know. Chief Justice Henry Frye, Ellerbe native. Chief Justice Frye.